I think we need more of that, more people's, reaching across lines and boundaries and stuff. And I think that for the problem is most people don't. I think it's a small percentage of people that actually do. Maybe a large percentage, are willing to, but they
Mhm.
don't. And
Yeah.
something needs to push them to, you know, like
Yeah. There's
open your heart, just
there's an
I don't know.
interesting statistic that once you're past the age of like I think it's 27 or 28, like you being able to like mentally check yourself and change the way that you think or believe about something is so much more work than it would at a younger age when your brain was more
Really?
malleable and you were able to like kind of process things differently because you get so set in your ways that you're like, oh, that challenges my belief system and that is uncomfortable and I don't want to look more into that issue because it challenges what my deep-seated belief is. And so part of the reason
Uh,
why people don't look is because it's hard. You
yeah.
you have to go through some like uncomfortable feelings within yourself of like, shoot, I have to kind of put to side like all my beliefs and really be open to like hearing this thing or exploring this thing or seeing this thing even though it doesn't feel nice. And
Mm.
as humans, we try to be in the most comfortable situation as possible. We don't try to do uncomfortable things. And so I think that's a big part of it too, is like you have to be like in a place where you're ready to do some work. And typically like a big unfortunate thing has to happen to push us to that place where we're like, what's currently happening isn't working, so we need to try something else because something really terrible just happened or something really unfortunate or whatever it is. And so sometimes we need those like really hard lessons or like falls so we can get back up and have a new perspective or try something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's uh,
Yeah. It's a trip.
yeah.
Life is a trip. Being human is a trip. I worked as a counselor because I was in my internship so I could graduate from school, right? And I was like a intern type therapist. I wasn't technically a therapist. I was working under someone else's license. And the thing that I would say all the time would be like, "Hey, like we were born without a guidebook. Like we
Mm.
were just like thrust into this world, figure it out. Like maybe our parents were kind of a guidebook, maybe they were good, maybe they weren't as great as they could be, whatever. Like if you could have an instruction book on how to be human, what would you want in that instruction book? Like what is it that you want to know more about the human experience? What is it that you want to learn more about so then that way you can have a better experience yourself? And I think that's a really cool way to think about it because it's like really getting away from all the like day-to-day things and just boiling it back to like you're a human being, you have needs, you have thoughts, feelings, like all these things, and you want to live and experience this world in a certain way. What do you think is holding you back from doing that?
I think that's like that's an interesting thought, the whole guidebook thing. I think that's what like humans throughout history have been trying to figure it out, figure everything out, and I
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's important to tur not throw away the lessons of, your ancestors, because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of knowledge there that, I mean, they obviously didn't do everything right. I mean, you know,
No one can.
nobody, no, right,
Yeah.
right. And you're gonna make mistakes and your kids are gonna make mistakes. And if we just try to get better and better,
Mm-hmm.
that's the goal. I mean,
Yeah. I'm sure you've seen, but there's like those little posts where it's like, if you're try for 1% better a day, like by the end of the year you're 365% better or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's a step-by-step process. It's not like an overnight shift. And if it was an overnight shift, trust me, like I would try. And I probably have tried. But that's the thing is sometimes you like take on way too much at once and then you like completely crash and burn and then you feel really bad about yourself because you're like, why couldn't I do it? Because you took on way too much.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that happens with people with their fitness goals and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Come across that. It's like you just gotta just little bit by little bit, just it's everyday little changes that you gotta make, If you
Mm-hmm.
wanna, if you wanna lose weight, well start parking, 5 spots away, further away from the grocery store. And then, in a month, make it 10 spots further away or something. Do
Yeah.
little things like that instead
Those
of,
are good ideas. Yeah.
yeah, walking to your car, run to your car. Why not, Like,
Yeah.
but
Mm,
um
I like those.
so do you know anything about EMFs?
EMS. What is
EM
EMS?
EMF. So
EMF. Oh,
yeah.
yes. Oh, electromagnetic
What are your thoughts?
frequencies.
What are your
Um,
thoughts on all that good
yes.
jazz?
So with the like muscle response testing, we can actually test what's stressful for our body and what's not.
Hmm.
Similar experience, we can test a cell phone on our body and see how our body, like neurologically and physically, reacts to the electromagnetic frequencies that our phone is giving off. And we can put different things within, like on our phone, so we can negate that reaction. And
Hmm.
so I actually have this hedron on my
Okay.
cell phone, and it's specific for 5G. And so it helps regulate the frequency so it's not as stressful for our bodies. Because, like, radio waves, like all these things are like great great things for like the expansion of like shared knowledge and like having access to knowledge and all these things, but at the same time there's like all these different frequencies that are in and around us that our body hasn't been used to for long periods of time. And so I definitely believe that they are negatively impacting us. Cell phones, Wi Fi, cell phone towers, like there's all the things. And so I don't know your belief system in it. That's totally fine if you don't feel similar, whatever. But because I've been exposed to like the holistic healthcare setting, that's definitely something that I've physically seen in myself and others when I add in different things that help protect my body from them, that I feel better. I feel more centered. I don't feel as scatterbrained, etc. My body just feels better. I'm not like 100% knowledgeable where I could explain to you about like the entire like this is why it's impact like hard for your body and this is what it does to your brain and blah 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 blah. Like I can't tell you all those things, but I know I've had exposure to it definitely, and I am a believer that there's a lot of negative impacts that we should be trying to address or at least like publicly like being aware of in some ways.
Yeah, I've just been looking into that stuff,
Mm,
and it makes sense to me that these frequencies would be harmful to us because of the fact that, whether you want to, whatever your human origin beliefs are, if you believe we evolved from, bacteria, or you believe in a creationist kind of point of view, either way, we were made for a certain environment, and that didn't involve these frequencies. It
yeah.
didn't involve this stuff that we created.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it makes sense when people talk about, the natural frequencies of, the earth and everything. It's like that makes sense that that would be healthier for us because it's, we're part of that.
Yeah, and we are, and ourselves are like, we conduct electricity as humans, like with our brain and our neurology, like
Hmm.
we conduct like a frequency within our bodies. And so when that is met with not matching, like
Hmm.
clashing frequencies, it definitely impacts things.
Right. Yeah. You mentioned earlier breath work. You do breath work.
So,
What do you do?
yeah, so right now I'm currently in the beginning stages of kind of building a clientele and a practice more along the lines of like mental health, like life coaching. I know life coaching has got kind of a bad name, but it's the easiest way to describe it sometimes. Like I do have my master's in marriage and family therapy, so it's not like I'm just a person trying to be a life coach. And breath work is a big portion of that because it's a really nice practice where you can actually clear trauma from the body through breath work. And it's going to take me a second to get back to that. Okay, so kind of going along the lines of what we kind of talked about earlier, like
Mhm.
we're emotional beings, our brain and our body are constantly communicating, and by tapping into things that calm our body and get us into that parasympathetic nervous system where we're resting, protecting, digesting our body. Because right now, like everything literally gives us like a stress response and it gets our nervous system fired up. Like back in the day, caveman era, like yeah, we saw a saber-toothed tiger, we'd have a stress response and we'd run away. But nowadays, our brain gets stressed out by like notifications on our phone, emails, like everything you can imagine. Like we weren't built for that. All the like sensory information we get, and so because we're in such a constant state of like being in like the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight mode, it's like, okay, we need to train our bodies to be calm. And breath work is a way that you can do that because you are consciously controlling your breath and there's specific breath patterns to help address certain with certain intentions of like reducing anxiety or increasing lung capacity for someone maybe with like COPD or like asthma. And so through breath work, we subconsciously train our body to be in a calm state more often. Because by consciously controlling our breath in a kind of rapid motion in some senses is kind of like inducing stress on your body, but then also training your body to be calm. Like even like in the sense of exercise, like you're inducing stress on your body and it's releasing good endorphins and you're
Mhm.
training by through breathing through your exercise, you're actually calming down your body so you're able to continue doing your exercise. It's it's like that but more in depth where it's like a longer period of time where you are consciously controlling your breath for anywhere from like 5 minutes to like 60 minutes. Like the longest breathwork session I think I did was an hour. And it's it's cool because after like the 8 to 10 minute mark of like a consistent conscious breath pattern, you actually switch your body into that parasympathetic mode and you experience really interesting things like you'll feel like your whole body vibrating or you might feel
Mhm.
like you're there's so many different things you can experience. I'm going to try to give you some more examples. So you can sometimes even just like experience your organ systems in your body like more because only 90% of us, oh, excuse me, 90% of us only breathe to 50% of our breathing capacity. So we
Mhm.
are not getting anywhere near the amount of oxygen we need, and oxygen impacts your brain, impacts your organs, impacts every single thing of your body. It oxygenates your blood. Your blood doesn't have enough oxygen. Your body's not able to process toxins out as much as it should. And so after that like 8 to 10 minute mark, you have gotten so much oxygen in your body and your body's in such a calm state that it's been known for you to release like really strong emotions. Like some people might start crying, some people might fight it and their body actually kind of like freezes up, in some senses. Like it's like you wouldn't like know just how much it really does and how much you really experience within breath work if you haven't experienced it. I once one of my first breathwork sessions I did, I think I ate lunch right before it, and it was like a 20-minute long breathwork practice. And through the beginning to the end of that 20 minutes, I literally felt my entire lunch digest. Just and then literally had to go to the bathroom like not long after. It was insane because just like my organs had so much more oxygen and so much more blood and were able to like just do all the processes that it needed to do more readily and more easily because I was getting enough air.
Wow.
And it's so in depth, and I kind of went down a few different tangents there, but yeah, it's kind of where I'm starting right now, so then that way I can start to build a clientele, hopefully in this area, so then that way when I do get certified in QNRT in 2023, then I'm able to kind of start doing more QNRT type things in addition to my other type of practice. But I sometimes am pulled and try to I'm pulled in so many directions and try to do too many things where I probably need to focus on something specific eventually.
No, you can do it all. I believe in you. Um, have you what are your thoughts on Wim Hof?
Wim Hof. Great
Yeah.
things, right? There's so many different types of breath work that you can do. It's absolutely insane the amount of different types of breath work there is. And Wim Hof was a person who went super in depth with breath work, and he was able to climb to the top of a mountain with wearing shorts, like when it was snowing. It was just
Yeah.
cold as heck. And he was able to, through his breath, regulate his body temperature. So then that way he was able to do that and not freeze to death. Like, just goes to show like how powerful your breath actually is if you
Mm.
go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And I
I've
think it's cool
done
because he's like definitely given a lot more awareness to breath work, and he's created practices and he's created trainings and created all these different things so he can expose other people to it as well. Because he also does like the temperature shifting, right?
yep,
Where it's like dunking your entire body in an ice bath.
yep.
It's a similar type thing as like that inducing stress on your body and then training your brain to react calmly to it, just like exercise, just like breath work, just like so many different other things.